Step in the box, sports cards fans. Welcome back to another episode of Batter Up. Let's see if we can hit a nuke tonight. We are back with Brett and John. What is up, John? Been a long time, buddy.
It has been a long time. I don't know. It's been probably 2 months. I think you were out of commission for a little bit. I was out of the state for at least 3 weeks. Back better than ever. We got the National to talk about. We got Topps Chrome to talk about. We've got a lot of other things to talk about. I wanted to get a post-National recap video out there for those of you who went to the show. Maybe you were in the chat. You can let us know how your experience was. Neither of us went to the show. I thought about going, and then I did the brakes on my car yesterday instead, and that took me all day. So needless to say, I did not go there today either. And it would have been a 4.5-hour drive for me one way. So I figured 9 hours of driving was not worth it. And Brett, you are in the Chicagoland area. So I think for you, it would have been about the same distance, maybe a little less. I don't know, but you always got that Chicago traffic to deal with. So probably not worth going either, but we got the next 3 years in Chicago. So that will be great for you. And hopefully I will get up there as well next year. So we want to talk about the National first, but before we get started on that, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing awesome. I can't believe the summer is almost over for me. Going back to school on August 7th. But I've had a great summer. Been a little different for me this summer. I spent a lot of time down at my mom's, but I had a great time. I've opened a whole lot less sports cards, that's for sure, than I usually do, which is not a bad thing. Even though I love it, it just doesn't make sense to just go crazy. But the National, I would have loved to have been there. I was considering going. I still could have gone, but just decided I had too much stuff to get done. And I've been there, and for the people who haven't been there, if you get a chance to go to one of them, it's something you got to do. It's like a museum. It's a history piece. It's the Super Bowl sports cards. There is so much crazy stuff there, not just sports cards, freaking art, memorabilia, tickets, you name it, it's there. And all the big boys are there. All the content creators are there. It's a really special place. So I do miss that part of it, just being around it, because I don't even need to buy anything when I'm there. Walking around is just fun. Seeing deals being made, seeing what's selling, seeing just cool stuff that you don't see at any show. It's awesome. So, but I wish I was able to make it, but I didn't. But I consumed some content. So, I like these kind of stories. I wish I would have wrote it down, but like somebody got into a break some way, somehow. I think it was free. And they opened up a 2018 product where they pulled an Ohtani autograph out of 100, and that person won it right there in the room. Like, what a monster. Another story that I saw, American Arbitrage. I watch him go through dollar boxes all the time. He got a Panini promo pack, opens it up for a short, pulls the Caitlin Clark 101 in the room, takes it over to Golden Auctions, and he's going to consign it in their big auction. Like, I love those stories. That's the cool thing about the National, man. It's, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to be pulled in the room. It's wild, man. People are just breaking products all day and all night in their hotel rooms. That's what's really cool to me. But
yeah, it looked like a great time. It looked like every time I've gone 2 years in a row. I didn't go this year. My going in stance was that I wasn't going to go this year, or I didn't think I was going to go. We came back from Alaska on Monday, the 22nd. I think we got back on the 22nd. We were only 3 days from the National when I got back. We've got college coming up. We had a lot of stuff going on at home. I just didn't think it was worth going for that last minute. If I had nothing else going on and I didn't have that trip, I probably would have gone. I would have fitted in for sure. Do I feel like I missed out? Not really. I mean, every dealer that I've heard say something, or every show goer who said they talked to a dealer, or every content creator that said they talked to a dealer said they had a great show. They had a great show. They sold a lot of stuff. Do I feel like I missed out on something because there was a great price there? No. Do I feel like I'll get prices for stuff I'm interested in another couple months? Sure. But do I feel like I missed out on the creme de la creme of something that I'll never see again because I didn't go? Nah, I doubt it. But maybe for some that's the case. I think for most, when you look at the ripping the pack product or the Topps Redemption product, we'll get into that a little bit later. Sounds like John Boehm didn't have a great experience with 12 packs. That was kind of what I was worried about, whether the packs were going to be as good as they were last year. Like last year's hit rate was maybe like, I don't know, 50%, maybe even higher than that in some cases, depending on collation. This year it seemed like really watered down. The checklist wasn't as good. It had 25 rookies and 25 prospects, basically Bowman Chrome and Topps Chrome, and the cards. I just didn't. I don't know. I don't know that I would have waited in that line, especially the prices that they were charging at the show for the sealed product. Now that was highway robbery to spend $140 on a Heritage hobby box, which is usually around $60, $70. So that was kind of insane. And I was really disappointed for those who did go that you couldn't redeem any Topps Chrome or anything like that, which last year you could. That last year, the checklist for the things that you could redeem was a lot higher. This year it was very narrow. It was a lot of paper product, and it just didn't seem like it was going to be as fun to go that route. But for those who did, I hope you pulled something amazing. For those who, 181 for a Series 2, that's insane. I thought it was a jumbo you were saying at first. $180 for a Series 2 hobby box? That is insane. There is no way it's worth $180.
I had a friend who was going out there, and I told him when I saw the list, I said, dude, pick up some Series 1 and Series 2 if possible. Pick up Series 2 for as cheap as you can get it and bring your own cases. It is disappointing. Like, I understand the capitalism and the supply and demand, but come on, it's Series 1 and Series 2 and Heritage. And I know they're free packs and they're going for crazy stuff, but it just doesn't make sense to me. But I guess on the flip side of it, if you would have gotten in line and gotten 12 silver packs and sold the silver packs for $100, which at one point Whatnot Breakers were selling them for $150 a piece on for breaks. Mm-hmm. If you would have just sold the packs, then yeah, if you got your stuff early, because I don't think they started charging those higher prices until like that second, third, and fourth day. Maybe it was the third and fourth day where they really, because the room, you know how it is, John, you've been there. Those first couple days, everybody's buying that product. Next thing you know, there's hardly anything in the room. Mm-hmm. And then you're a hostage to that. I tell everybody, if you can, if you know kind of a couple items that are going to be on there, to get them before you go. Bring your cases, lug them in. It's a pain in the butt. But I do agree the silver packs, they were not great. You could hit some awesome stuff, mm-hmm. but the hit rate was 25%, which is disappointing. I wish Fanatics would, like, instead of keep watering down these products, because we're going to get to Topps Chrome in a minute. Mm-hmm. Instead of watering it down and making more, how about having a day 1 pack that's red? Because I saw the red packs. How about having a day 2 pack that is blue? How about different packs for different days that have different stuff and have hits in them? Mm-hmm. How about being creative that way? Instead of keep watering these products down, make them collectible. They just keep watering everything down, and that's my frustration. But man, we have a lot of people in here.
Yeah, got a lot of chat that I'm way behind on talking about. Ziggy asked the question, or Card Hunter asked the question. I know it's Ziggy. Whether we'll be going to a show in Pittsburgh or Fanatics Fest. I think I would love to go to Fanatics Fest. I don't think I'm available that weekend. I think that's the weekend that my son will be going over to Rose-Hulman, that we have to kind of check him in for his he's got to be there a couple weeks early for report date for cross country. So I don't know that I'll be available. And I usually don't travel out of state for a show, but you never know. But I don't know that I'd be at that Pittsburgh event either in September, but I have to look it up and find out what it is. And then somebody made a comment about the Leaf redemption pack. So Brett and I said backstage when it came to all of this, the swag stuff that was available for the consumers, the Panini packs looked terrible. If you didn't get a Caitlin Clark, you didn't get anything. Flat out, they sucked. If you didn't get a Topps product and you didn't get an Ellie or maybe a Paul Skeens or something cool like that, it was kind of a downer. But on the Leaf side, I saw somebody that posted a video. They pulled a Mike Tyson 101 out of their autograph, and I think it was on card too, or maybe it was a sticker. But that's a pretty darn cool hit, and they had a pretty good checklist. So I think that was definitely the way to go when it comes to the swag that you were getting. How much did you have to spend to get that? I don't know, but it seemed like the pulling good hits was pretty easy.
I forgot who I watched. They had a bunch of different tier and different cost packs, and they were good. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Leaf figures it out. Why can't Fanatics figure out how to do that with their Topps product? Again, they know tons of people are going to come. They know the redemption thing is awesome. It's the best for baseball, and you just instead of making something that was awesome last year, Leaf outdoes you. And if Leaf had Topps name, everybody'd be paying $500 for those packs. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I think you said there. Why can't Topps figure it out? Right. I think the way they're trying to figure it out is by marketing. Because I watched a couple Michael Rubin interviews that were done at the National. They're doing it by marketing. They say they're trying to be cognizant of the collector, but I beg to differ. I think they're really just ramping up marketing, and they're trying to recover as much cost as they can. So I am sure they had product at the ready that they were going to give to Blowout Cards, David Adams, and others there from a warehouse truck or something that they could ship them overnight and charge a lot more for a Series 2 hobby box or a Series 1 hobby box or a Heritage hobby box. Immediately as they ran out, they were like, hey, we can fill that order, but it's going to be so much money. And they're like, well, we'll sell it. We'll take it. So that's what they are figuring out, is how to make money in the margins and take advantage of previous year's hype around a good product by saying that this year will be much the same when it's actually a little bit worse. But we'll get into that in a bit.
That's a rabbit hole, because I kind of had Fanatics listed with another topic, and I agree with all what you're saying. I mean, I have a lot more on that topic. Kind of staying on point with the National. The one big negative that I saw, at least the first couple days, is how difficult it was to get from the interstate to the show because traffic was so bad, and getting parking that people were waiting in line hour and a half, 2 hours people were walking down the side of the road to go to the show.
Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimated how tricky it would be to basically pull into a hotel parking lot in mass like that with probably very little traffic control. Like, I don't even, like, think about it. If everybody shows up right around 9, 10 o'clock for day one, or I think it was 4 o'clock for day one with the Wednesday show, you have to treat it like you're going to a ball game. What do you have about a ball game? You got a lot of cones, you got a lot of traffic control, you got a lot of ins and outs that don't normally exist, because you try and make sure that everybody's going to get in the parking lot because that's your primary concern. And then you do the reverse of it on the way out. I don't think, looking at where that was, it was a 2-lane road leading in there, and it was a single exit off a freeway. If you didn't take the back way, which you could take the back way, and I was doing a little bit of reconnaissance on just for curiosity's sake on whether or not people found alternatives to get there, because there's 2 roads that lead there. One off the freeway, which if you're coming from Cleveland downtown or somewhere around there, that's where you're going to get funneled. But if you're coming from the west side, you go on this other airport perimeter road, and it didn't seem like there was any traffic at all. So I think people figured that out the second day. They also staggered their entrance. And the other thing, I don't know when we're looking at the national, whether we have a lot of dealers that are there. There's, maybe 1,000 dealers there. And if each booth has, let's say 5 to 10 people, on average, let's say 5 to 10, but probably a little bit more than that in some cases, a little bit less than that in others. That's a lot of other people that aren't going to come from a hotel that is across the street like they normally would. And they're actually going to have to drive there, park, and that create a whole nother layer of chaos. So I think once they got that figured out, it got a lot better. But you would think even for the case of Cleveland, as soon as that traffic created a mess like that, they were probably a little bit better about it in terms of metering the traffic the following day, or at least having maybe a police presence or something like that to direct traffic and have some control around it, because that was a little surprising, but maybe not. But when I went to Atlantic City, it was very much the same. Getting in, you had to plan ahead. The first day was terrible, but then every day after that was a little better. And you just got in at the right time. You parked far enough away, you had to walk, blah, blah, blah. You figure it out.
Yeah, John said by day 3 they fixed the parking. They added a bunch of traffic controllers, which that's awesome, because I didn't hear anything after those first couple days, which was awesome. And that's really, if those are the worst 2 things you hear, because I didn't hear too much negatives about the show. Seemed like there was a lot of positive, cool stuff going on. Again, I still have a lot more content that I want to consume this week. Couple hours each day. I'll do some catching up. My brother-in-law and my nephew were in town, so I didn't get to watch this quite as much as I wanted to, but it looked awesome. The showroom looked like it presented well. There was the Whatnot booth, love them or hate them, that freaking screen with all the breakers on it was incredible. I have no idea who paid for that whole thing. That looked like how many LCD screens were up there or whatever I don't know. That was nuts. Wow. Yeah. That was, even Jabs was like, holy crap, this is crazy. I did see that, but man, the National, the 44th. Another thing I want to touch on, because a lot of people don't know, Chris was talking about, he just can't travel from the West Coast to the Midwest. It's expensive. I totally agree. When's it ever going to come to the West Coast? Well, that comes down to the people who vote, and that's the vendors who have seniority, and it's a lot of them. Mm-hmm. If you don't know, the last day of the National, the people that are involved put a vote, and you go in there and you get pick your booth for next year. Usually you get a vote for where the next location is. For last year, they voted to where to go. And here's the crazy thing. Atlantic City last year, I talked to a guy, and we'd known this already, but they offered free booths for all the vendors at Atlantic City, and heavily discounted hotel rooms for them as well. And they all voted not to go there, and they all voted to go to Cleveland over Atlanta and Atlantic City. So the vendors pretty much have the say of where they're going to go. It's not like there's one person saying, oh, we're not going to go to the West Coast. Mm-hmm. It's, hey, these are our best options. And let me tell you what, if you have not been to Chicago, you can fly right in to O'Hare, which is next year, and the next, I believe, 3 years. Mm-hmm. You can fly into O'Hare. If you get on there and book a hotel room enough, it's very affordable. It's right there. You don't even have to leave and get any transportation. It's incredible. So start planning your trip next year. I'll be there next year.
Well, you'll be there for the next 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be the plan, right? You got it made for the next 3 years.
Dude, it's nice. I'm pumped about that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to go back to another venue after 3 years in Chicago, but people will probably get sick of that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they fix the air condition there and they do something different this time instead of keep letting it happen every time. Although this summer would have been perfect for Chicago, mm-hmm. because the weather has been like this whole week. It's been mid 70s. It's insane. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on, but I love it. So any other thoughts on the National? I didn't really have much else written down.
I mean, like I said earlier, a couple people interviewed Michael Rubin. I thought the accessibility was good to see that some of the bigger names in the industry. Many people call it a hobby, but it's a hobby to some, but an industry to others. Let's be honest, it's not a hobby to Michael Rubin. It's an industry to him. He did say a lot of things are yet to be determined in terms of, he says, well, we've been at it for 2.5 years. We haven't figured everything out. We know that we've made some improvements. We spent a lot of money and time on marketing, but we haven't spent a lot of time on the actual products themselves. We do have the Topps Chrome composite football coming out this month, maybe within the month. We should have Topps Chrome basketball. We saw the Olympic product release with Topps Chrome Olympic. That's a product of the moment. I felt like I missed out on that, but then I saw some of the sales on eBay in terms of the singles, and they were dropping like crazy. Even though it was a great product in terms of the price point at $99 a box for 2 autographs and 1 additional hit, it felt like you were missing out if you didn't get it right away. But I'm just going to wait on that one until after the Olympics are over and gobble up singles that way for players you want, like your Steph Curry. There's a couple of decent players in the checklist, but they don't have autographs. And the best autographs that I saw by far were Michael Phelps, Carl Lewis, Katie Ledecky. There's probably a couple other names that mean something to somebody, but to me, those are the ones that I saw. Like I like swimming, I like track and field. So I saw those names. I think Mark Spitz's name was in there for swimming. I know he was a swimmer back in the 70s or something like that, like 1976. So it was a decent checklist, but not like super duper good. I mean, if they had LeBron James and Steph Curry autos in there, people would be going nuts for that product right now.
Oh man, yeah. We on last night when we got back here, we had the Cubs game on, and then I have the double decker TV. So I put a 2-case break of that Olympics and had it muted.
Mm-hmm.
And those cards looked spectacular. They look great. And I was like, man, those are nice. If you got them for a decent price, I think it'd be a fun opening. But yeah, he pulled a couple really nice Phelps cards that were in the money mid. I was watching Real Breaks. Man, that product is very, very cool looking. The parallels are coming out of those like crazy. I didn't see blasters; they were only hobbies. But
I like the way they did it with the borderless cards, because if you get a gold parallel, it's kind of like how you saw during 2018 and 2019, where the entire card is the color. I like that. So they were similar to like a 2020 Topps design in the way that the entire card was covered in the color. So I think pink cards will look good in the blasters. Now we'll get into Topps Chrome in a little bit in terms of the baseball product, but one thing that struck me as very interesting. Now I know it's supply and demand, fair enough, but the license also has a lot to do with the price. And the Chrome Olympics box was $20 a blaster for basically 30 cards. It had 28 cards plus the additional 2 pinks. So let me ask you this. Is it inflation that caused the box price to go up on Topps Chrome this year to $30 $30 was years ago, $40 and $200 for a hobby box and $400 plus for a jumbo? I don't think so at all. It is not inflation. It is not greed entirely. It is the license that they have signed. The Players Association and the Major League Baseball is getting a bigger cut of the pie, and that is going to be passed along to the consumer. It is not entirely greed. I did say it's a little greed, Chris. I'm not disagreeing with you there, but I do think the way they've signed that license, they have to pay for the licensing and they have to pass that along to the consumer, because if Fanatics ate that, you would have a $20 blaster, or you could have a $25 blaster, but they can't eat that. They signed that deal. They're going to pass that along. It's part of what we're going to deal with going forward.
Yep. It's, I don't like it. No, and somebody in one of my videos made a comment that I was complaining about the prices. I'm just being real. The prices are out of control. This is the highest Topps Chrome baseball has ever been ever. It's not even close. And it's frustrating, but when you're frustrated, you just don't buy it. You want to know something? I got lucky. I got a case that I paid for on pre-order
Yeah.
that I probably wouldn't have bought afterwards, knowing what I know now. But you have a choice to speak as a consumer. and another thing with those blasters is when I found out that hobby shop owners had to pay $27 a box
Yeah.
up front, that's pretty brutal, man. And see, this is the difference between mom and pop tops, how it used to run, and how Fanatics has taken it. Is they're forcing these dealers to hold these prices. They expect them to charge $40 a blaster and hold it and not lowball people. Not to lower it and discount it. I mean, right now, I think that probably the cheapest you can get them is $35. That's if you can find them at $35. I hate the prices. It's a horrible. If you're opening like we do, if you like to open cards, this is a horrible thing to be opening at these prices.
Yeah, there are some that'll say that it's a great buy. I think there is a. I mean, I don't have anything against his channel, Western New York Cards. He seems like he's like a channel like yours. He wants to be he doesn't do breaks, but he's kind of like Casey in a way, kind of like Lucky Peter. His channel, he does a lot of profit challenges. He is all about the blasters, but I don't know that I think in the long run, you're going to find that you're going to probably lose. At $40 a pop, you're going to lose. You're going to have some really good boxes, no doubt. Somebody mentioned in the chat, they pulled the Ellie De La Cruz image variation. That's a great pull out of a blaster. So they're definitely there. But in the long run, if you get 10 boxes that are duds, the next 3 are not going to make up for the 10 boxes that you just bought that are duds. So it's really just the luck of the draw. If you want to have fun with it, go have fun with it. But I wouldn't go crazy on it, at least not for a long, long time. And the MVP buyback, we know that they're pulling less of them out. I mean, I don't know if you did it in your case recap, but I'm curious, when you look at what you pulled for potential buyback of the guys like Judge, Ohtani, Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt, probably forgetting some names, but anyway, you can't add them. There's only 2 MVPs at the end of the year. In your perfect scenario, though, what would be the best you could have gotten out of that case in terms of MVP buyback versus what you got in last year's product of a case of product?
Dude, it's not good compared to last year. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I opened up a case, and again, my case was unlucky compared to some, but I got 1 base Judge, 1 base Ohtani, 1 Prism Judge, and that was it of those 2.
Wow. So $80
from a case.
Those 2 guys
hobby.
win the big, the big deal this year. That's not a lot at all. Like you were getting $300 to $400 last year,
dude, out of a blaster cases. It was nuts.
Yeah. And maybe you'd have a better shot at a blaster case anyway because you got the pinks, the sepias, and same amount of refractors. You got a lot more cards. So
the thing is, with the blaster cases, if you're paying $40 a blaster and you're not even paying tax, $1,600 for a blaster case. I was getting those on clearance at the end of the year last year for $1,000 and pulling $250, $300, $400 worth of buyback from every case. Yeah, there was a few dud cases. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna go back and watch Hobby Legends. He did 250 case player breaks. Release week and the second week, and he did a recap of the Judge and Ohtani spots in each. And I don't want to misquote because I didn't write it down, but he does have what he pulled in each one. And I mean, like for 50 cases, it was like $2,000 for one of the players. Again, I don't want to, but you look, if you're like 50 cases, it was only $2,000. It's pretty wild, man.
Yeah, it's pretty awful to think that $200 might be a good number compared to last year where it seemed like 280 to 400 was probably a routine. We all knew that. I mean, I ran the odds. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out you're paying more for the product and you're getting more cards overall in the checklist by 36% or something around that range. what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be harder to hit the guys you want. Unless you get a run of them, then maybe you'll do well in a 4-box run. Fair enough. I've seen that plenty of times. But then you're going to have 10 boxes or 12 boxes where you don't get any. And then don't go chasing it either. So,
yeah. So we've kind of been on the negative part of Topps Chrome. The buyback's kind of a negative at this point. The price of the product is a big negative to me. The expansion of the checklist is a negative to me. The number of autographs of that checklist, there's so many, is a negative to me. But let's go to some of the positives. Do you have any positive takes on 2024 Topps Chrome?
As much as I wanted to dog the product for having hard to hit hits, it seemed like between your case and Ped's case and a couple others, I mean, you can still pull monster cards. He pulled the Jackson Holiday out of 150 blue. You pulled the Ellie out of 25 auto, which is crazy. Had it not been for that, which I'm sure that probably may pay for your case or then some, I'm going to guess had that card not been in there, you probably would have come out way below that case.
For sure. 100%. It would have been a total bust. I do agree with you. There are some fire cards. There's some great stuff. I like a lot of the inserts they did, and those are just minor cards. The Breaker's Delight format is probably the best format in my opinion after seeing a bunch of it opened. That is a total fire product, and that's where all the legendary autos went to. Seemed like people were upset about that, but it is what it is. Those legendary autos are pretty sick. The jumbos are probably the second best option. The hobby's the third best, and I know people are loving the blasters for some reason, but I just don't see the value at $40 plus tax. I just don't. And I opened up 11 cases last year of freaking blasters.
That's a lot. That's a lot of product.
But man, if it wasn't for the prices, I would be talking this product is so sick. Because another positive, dude, the design that they had this year and the parallels look so good with those Chrome cards this year. They look fantastic.
They do. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think I'm not super high on any one prospect out of here, but I'll wait. Maybe I'll nab a Jackson Chorio refractor or some kind of a colored Jackson Chorio much later on when the prices are down, because he's for my hometown Brewers. Maybe I'll grab a Jackson Holiday eventually, but I don't feel like I need to do it now. I'm not going to miss out on anything. There's going to be plenty of them. There's going to be a lot of it ripped. There's going to be a lot of it sold. And then there's going to be a winter dead zone where you can buy a lot of this stuff for a cheap price, and I'll do that. I think we could beat a dead horse on Topps Chrome. The thing is, with the 300 card checklist and the increase in price, I hope we don't see that next year, but they didn't really need to go to 300 cards. They could have gone to 250. They were at 220 for several years. You go back several years, I think it used to be a 200 card checklist. So,
I just wish Fanatics would think outside of the box. Instead of watering stuff down, find ways to continue to make it cool, to keep stuff limited. Let's face it, Chrome is supposed to be one of the best products of the year. Keep it that way. And these prices don't make sense right now. Like, these prices would have made sense to me during the last part of 2020 and all the way through 2021. But here's where in almost August of 2024, these prices don't make sense to be open. I told my brother-in-law last night, this is by far the least amount of cards that I've opened in the last 8 years. It's not even close because it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And I'm not complaining. I'll be just fine. I'll keep watching other people open stuff.
Yeah, somebody mentioned in the chat we've got the monster. Now I used to call them monster boxes. They're not the jumbo boxes, but basically the mega boxes for Topps Chrome. Yeah. I saw they were on pre-order on on Target. They've been up on Fanatics as well, but $65 a box is high. I think if they were 50, that'd be a different story. I might even buy some of those. I think last year I bought some with my Fanatics gift cards and another code and ended up getting for $30 a box. That would be a way to go, but you'd have to be very, very slick on that. I'm probably going to skip those. I don't even think I want to buy those for the channel. I mean, that would just be, maybe you could argue that it'll be worth it. Maybe the X Factors will look amazing. I'm sure they will. But I don't know. I'm sure we'll see a lot of people open them and they're going to pull some amazing hits. Maybe they'll have more hits than the other products. Maybe that was the point somebody was trying to make. Logo Fractor in this product, I think some people said already, Logo Fractor, get ready to call the MLB store, try to get your order in. You're going to be limited in what you can buy.
They're probably going to be $100 a box.
Well, maybe. I think they were 65 last year.
75?
I don't know. I think they'll be $65 or $70. I mean, maybe on the high end, $74.99.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to expand the checklist, and they're going to make more of it and keep the price the same.
Well, they didn't last year. They kept it at 110 cards, and they gave you the same chance of hits. They never published odds on it, so we don't even know. But it is what it is. I would say a lot of people kind of guessing around that $70, $80 range, maybe a high end 100. The low end will be 65, obviously, because that's what it was last year. I think you're right on the checklist. They're probably going to go to 150 cards or something like that instead of 110. It'll make it harder to hit. But you just never know. You never know. I could also imagine they're going to have that be inside of ballparks before we know it, because the MLB store is only so many consumers, but plenty of people can call and they can ship from there. They got to figure out a way of better distributing that product.
They got to go to the website.
Like, they got to go to a website or something. Like,
they got to go to Top's website.
It's so.
Or Fanatics website.
There would be like Bowman Sapphire being at the MLB store. That wouldn't make any sense in the world.
I don't understand why they don't use Fanatics website with that. You put in, you have your payment. If you get selected, it gets rung up, and it's like a random thing. I love that. It gives everybody an equal chance. Kind of one thing I want to hit on. Me and John, I believe John has come from the same angle that I am. Like, we like to open product. If you're listening and you're just tuning in, we're talking an angle of these products as people who like to open and trying to get value and discounts. And we're trying not to complain, but it's easy to do when they price it like this. Mm-hmm. If you're a singles buyer, this is actually pretty good for you in a certain way, as long as people keep opening the stuff. And we're going to get to that one when I kind of want to talk about that angle, because this hobby needs people to open stuff. Like, if you're going to open one blaster box for $40, it's no big deal. That's not my play. I like to open a lot of product and kind of stack the odds in my favor a little bit by opening more to even things out and make sets and sell inserts. But the hobby is all interconnected. To get singles on eBay, to get singles in boxes, I had my bulk buyer saying, dude, I need some singles. My guys are looking for these singles to buy. What's going on? I'm like, I don't have anything. Mm-hmm. I haven't opened up that much. And these guys are looking for stuff to put in value boxes. Oh, you know, the one thing I forgot about while we're here, the most genius thing that I saw at the National was a guy who had 20,000 cards. On day one, they were all in top loaders. They were $5 on day one, $4 on day two, $3, $2, $1. And man, his boxes were just getting searched. It was amazing. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's almost a good idea at a card show in a way. Like, if you had a tiered system, like you start the card show at $6 a pop. It's a 6-hour card show. In the first hour, it's $6. Then it's $5, $4, $3. And so on down the line till the last hour is $1. I bet you sell them all.
That's a genius idea, man. But
I
do you have anything else on Topps Chrome at all?
Not really. Other than I haven't bought any, and I don't think I will anytime soon. I don't feel like I'm missing out on it. Yeah. I opened a couple of boxes of Series 2 that I got in Alaska. That's the only Series 2 I bought so far. I know that a lot of people have bought a lot of more, and I think you're chomping at the bit to buy even more, which is nice and commendable. I'm kind of in a weird spot right now. I'm not selling a ton, so I don't feel like I have a lot in my card bank account to go buy a ton. So I don't want to dwindle it down and start over. I'm kind of in a spot right now where until I sell more, I'm not really going to buy anything else. I mean, maybe I'll buy a little bit here or there, but I've got a nice ambition that I will do a video on my channel at some point relative to rookie autographs for a special team of mine that I am in the midst of collecting every single player's rookie autograph. It doesn't have to be a one-of-one or anything like that. Nothing crazy like that. But I think the Kings are a good up-and-coming team. I've said that for a couple of years. I actually saw Pac-Man's video at De'Aaron Fox's jersey at the upper deck booth at the National next to Michael Jordan. So, I mean, it's destined to happen, right? I mean, he's going to be a 6-time champion before you know it. Nah, I'm just kidding. But one can only hope, because then, I would be a rich man.
You would be a rich man.
Because I have a lot of De'Aaron Fox rookie cards in PSA 10. I have a lot of them. But anyway, I'm going to collect the entire Kings team now that they got DeMar DeRozan. I've got the entire Kings team rookie autograph, or autograph on their rookie card in my sites. I think I'm 10 players into a 13 or 15 card player. I'm trying to wait and see who makes the roster to purchase those final 5. It's probably the smart thing to do, because otherwise they'll just be shooting darts, and then they're going to trade somebody or sign somebody. But I've got the core 10 guys that I think are locks to make the roster. Sabonis is the one that I have my eyes set on right now that I need to get under my belt, and he's the last big player. Other than that, it's a bunch of bench players. But that'll be a fun collection to put together of something memorable, especially if they go far this year. But I don't know if that'll happen. But I expect them to be better than last year.
Yeah, getting back to opening, I would love to open more Chrome. I'm just not going to do it. I had an opportunity back in the middle of the summer when I was at my mom's. I can't say who, but a supporter of the channel who owns a hobby shop reached out to me, and I could have got as many cases of blasters and hangers of Series 2 as that I wanted, and for great prices too. I did get a second case of hangers from him for $9.50 a box, which is a great deal. I like that value. I told John a little sneak peek. I don't know, can't assure you of anything, but if I can get that price on update, I will be doing 1,000 plus hanger boxes this year of update series. But that's if, one, the print run is similar to Series 2 or less, and 2, I can get them at the same price.
You say
I will do 1,000 plus.
Box?
Say that again.
Did you say 1,000 cases or boxes?
Or 1,000 hanger boxes.
Oh, boxes. I thought you said cases.
No, 1,000 boxes.
That's 64,000 cases. That's
which is, I think it's 16 cases times 64 is 1,024 boxes. That's what I would do.
Just to go after the Skeens rookie and all the rookie debuts.
Skeens and the rookie debuts, and then collate the sets for $30 a piece. Again, but I'm not setting that in stone. I would like to do it because I'm telling you, I just haven't opened any freaking cards, man. And it just, a lot of these products don't make sense. The only thing I got left is a case of Bowman blasters that I got for a great deal. I'll probably do that this month. And I don't know what else. One of the other things I had on my list is Topps Finest is coming out first week of August. I would like to open some of that, but those are probably going to be $250 a box. I don't know, $200. I really don't know what they're going to charge, and it's not going to be cheap. Museum collection was just this high value.
Yeah, $400.
That's insane.
I think that's kind of what it's been.
Yeah,
think it's
I
kind of,
know. It's just I can't
it just
believe
seems
people
like it's.
pay that much.
I just can never pay that much.
Oh man. Chris said he'll stick with 2022 update. Getting a case of hangers of update might actually be a pretty nice play. They're not too much right now. They're like $20 a box for a hanger box, which isn't terrible, really, if you think about it. You got Bobby Witt, who's playing out of his mind, and a few other players who've merged. But Finest is the only product that I can think of that is coming out soon. I don't know. Maybe somebody else has caught that. I looked today, but I couldn't find it. And then one other thing that I got from news from not so much the National, but it broke at the National, is Rob at Burbank Sports Cards is moving 40 million of his cards that he's one of the biggest eBay sellers out there, Burbank Sports Cards. Mm-hmm. They freaking sell a lot of cards on eBay. They are moving over to Fanatics Collect. I didn't even know what Fanatics Collect was. I want to know, did you know what that was, John?
It's the rebranded PWCC.
I had no idea what it even was.
Yeah, when they bought PWCC, but they bought that specifically for the infrastructure of it, and then they just rebranded it eventually. So it's basically the PWCC platform with Fanatics Collect as the name of it. I'm sure they made some other changes, but I saw the notes I sell a lot on eBay, and I'm not a big time player on eBay. Maybe I'll sell, I don't know, $8,000 a year or something like that in terms of sales. But I did see like $100 and under, I think it was, or $150 and under. You had the sales fee is like 6%. So that's really lucrative if you think about the fact that eBay was like 10%, I think, for some of the ones who had pretty big storefronts. So that's a big savings when you have 40 million cards. And I am sure Fanatics Collect wanted to make a push to Rob at Burbank. But Rob didn't make that decision without a little bit of incentive. That's my opinion. So I don't know. I think that is a interesting move. We'll have to see how that plays out. I don't think I'm going to shift over to Fanatics Collect on my eBay page anytime soon. I don't think I'm going to stop scouring eBay for ideas of cards to buy. I think a lot of the shill bidding has gone down. So if a lot of the gravitation of people go over to Fanatics Collect and they don't do auctions, they just do buy it now. I don't think they've declared whether they do auctions or not. I mean, you might be in a prime position to get a really good deal on a great card by staying with eBay for right now as a consumer. So I don't know. I think I would have to wait and see on that one. I mean, I wish him the best. I don't know him personally, but he seems like a really, really good guy, guy for a hobby, even though he is running a business. And yeah,
I really like a lot of what he said. I'll get that in a second, but like he's taking a huge risk coming off eBay and going because they sell a lot on there. I mean, 40 million cards is a lot. So to just take those all off eBay and move them all to Fanatics, I think that's crazy. Because again, I didn't even know. I go to eBay every day. I don't even know what the other, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I love Rob's. If you haven't consumed Rob's content out there, I love what he talks about. He talks about people who open cards, and that has to be, the prices have to be reasonable, and there's got to be some value to them. And without people who open, the singles buyers and the people like him and all the collectors need stuff to be opened. You need people who are willing to grade stuff. We're all one big unit, and when we all work together, because all this stuff would be worthless if we didn't work. You know what I mean? Like there's some people who only buy singles, and the only way you get singles is from people who opened product.
Right.
So anyway, I love Rob at Burbank. I would like to get out there sometime and see his store. Looks incredible.
He's gonna have a new one.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big place to it's a high rent district a little bit to own unless he had the property ahead of time, but or maybe he's doing some major renovation. But building a big card shop in California cannot be cheap. That cannot
No, not at all.
No, but commercial real estate, I don't know. Many people are saying that those are kind of being bought right now for like pennies on the dollar. So I don't know.
They're,
Maybe you got a good deal on it.
all these businesses haven't gone back to work and they're all empty.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The last thing I had on my list was the MLB trade deadline. Anybody in the chat, has your team made a move? Couple moves that I caught. Randy Arozarena, I believe. Did he go to the Mariners?
Yes.
Jazz Chisholm went to the Yankees. That kind of blew my mind. Paredes went to the Cubbies. My Cubbies, Morel. So
are you talking
there
about
hasn't been a
Paredes?
Yeah, and he seems like a great. I don't know. The weird thing is, I looked at his stats and he looks like a really good hitter and a good third baseman, but you don't hear anything about him because he plays for the Rays.
I have a PSA 10 Walgreens yellow rookie of his, so maybe I ought to get that up on eBay and sell it.
You might.
I've been waiting on that one. I graded that one about a year ago because he actually had a good year. Like he had like 30 some home runs and 100 RBIs last year for the Rays, but the Rays are going nowhere.
Vino Chris says Danny Jansen to Boston.
A lot of people were speculating Tariq Skubal, who's a Cy Young Award winner candidate this year, or at least the leader in the clubhouse in terms of betting odds, that he was going to go somewhere, that Detroit was going to trade him maybe to the Orioles for a big prospect. I think it'd be interesting. It's hard to think, though, that I think he had Tommy John surgery last year or maybe the year before. This guy was a nobody, but he maybe had a lot of potential. But all of a sudden to be like potentially a Cy Young, another guy, I've got some really good stuff of his that I've kept in boxes, and I had to pull it out the other day and wonder whether I want to get it graded or sell it or what. I think if he wins the Cy Young, I mean, if you have a Tariq Skubal out there, maybe you want to sell that card, but can't say the same for everybody. But it seems like finally a pitcher might have some hype, especially from the Tigers. But man, imagine if he got traded to the Dodgers.
Oh yeah, I mean, another one that's been speculation is Garrett Crochet getting traded from the White Sox. He's been a stud this year, and the White Sox, holy crap, they've lost 14 in a row. I don't know, that's insane. But if he gets traded to a contender, if you have some of his stuff, you might want to pull it out. It'll be interesting. The deadline's on July 30th, ends at 6 Eastern. And you never know who's going to get traded.
Yeah, you never do. But I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, and then the Major League Baseball awards coming up. Many people are, like we said earlier when we were talking about Topps Chrome, we got Ohtani and Judge. Last year they were in the same league. This year they're in different leagues, so they could both be MVPs. I think many would say if Ohtani wins MVP and he didn't pitch at all this year, where do you think he ends up? I mean, if he stays healthy, relatively healthy, and he's had a bunch of surgeries already, and I don't think he's quite 30, but do you think he ends up being a top 15 baseball player of all time?
I think it just depends on how long he does this. Because if he does it for a handful of years, it could be incredible. I mean, dude, this guy's hitting nukes.
Yeah, he's hitting such a good average and a very good power rank. And if he pitches at all anymore and he doesn't suck, his WAR number is going to be way up there.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's going to be top 10, 15 all time. Maybe by the time all is said and done. If
the
he stays
wild part is there anybody in the NL that's even an option right now to, even if he just keeps staying healthy and hitting, is there anybody that challenges? I actually think Bobby Witt is in the running for MVP with Judge. I don't think you just say, hey, Aaron Judge has won this thing, because Bobby Witt has come out and is tearing it up after the All-Star break. He is on fire. And I know Gunner was in the conversation a little bit ago, and I haven't been so totally tuned in. But is there anybody in the NL that's even challenging
I,
Otani?
I have to look it up. I'd have to look it up and see if there's anything on Major League. Let me check my betting app quick.
Chris says Harper's the only challenger in the NL, maybe. Michael says, nice shirt, Brett. I've had a couple comments about my Kiss shirt.
Bryce Harper. Yeah, then it really drops off. Bryce Harper's the closest one. Somebody said Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah.
Frankie Lindor, Ketel Marte, Ellie De La Cruz, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman. That's your top 8. Then you got Matt Olson and Alec Boehm. Alec Boehm?
Boom.
In the top 10 for MVP voting right now? No way. Not going to happen. Yeah, and it drops off a lot. I mean, somebody had O'Neal Cruz at 200 to 1. So you can bet on O'Neal Cruz or Willie Adames. I don't know, you can bet on him
Willie
too.
Adames.
They're both 200 to 1. So, but probably Otani and Harper, probably two best betting odds.
What else do you have to finish out the show here? We've been going just shy of an hour. We've had a nice little steady flow of people coming in. Thanks for the chat out there. Glad to be back. Hopefully we can be a little more consistent. But what else do you have on your list, John?
I don't really have anything on the list. To kind of wrap up here, if you did go to the National, let us know in the comments below how your time was. If you didn't go to the National, let us know if you feel like you missed out. Both Brad and I didn't go. We didn't really plan on going. The next 3 years are in Chicago, so I know he'll probably go each of those 3 years. I'll try to go maybe 2 out of the 3 years, maybe all 3. We'll never know. But sounds like from most people, they had a great time. The venue seemed like it had a little bit of struggle early on with parking, with traffic control, but overall, I didn't really hear too many complaints other than dealer prices were higher than people wanted. But hey, it's the National. What do you expect? That is what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of dealers that are high. You get a lot of dealers that are rightly priced, and then there's some that are high, willing to negotiate. And there's probably some that are way out in left field somewhere, and they're just not there to have a great time selling. They're just there to have a great time. So
if you don't follow the National on Facebook and other socials, Instagram, etc., and you plan on going to the Chicago show, it's worth the follow, because then you find out next year when they list the I really encourage, if you're going to be there more than a couple days, to get the VIP so you can get the in early. I'll buy the super VIP again every year. Gets me parking because I commute every day, and then get in early. So follow them on social. They were more active. That's one thing they did that I noticed that we didn't talk about. They were more active on their Facebook and Instagram page this year as a group, giving more info and updates and cool stuff. Yeah. Oh, hey, one other thing I forgot. I was in an establishment on a Monday night with some high school friends, and I look over to the TV, and Matt Strom is ripping packs. There's some other dude later on doing Pokemon, and I'm like, is this YouTube? It was Bally Sports, and somebody commented, I forgot the name of the show, but I'm like, it's crazy to see sports cards on regular, cable TV. I was surprised by that. Does anybody know the name of that show in the chat? I don't even know. I don't think I get Bally Midwest Sports on my direct TV.
I don't. I think we do, but we don't. I don't have a TV package. I just have streaming services and stuff.
Mike says The Card Life is the name of the show. The Card Life. That was pretty cool. Card Yard 608. But other than that, I don't have anything.
All right. I don't have anything else. We're right at about an hour.
John, it was great seeing you as always. It's been way too long. We'll try to get back on and keep it rolling.
Sounds good.
All right, crew out there. Thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for watching. Anybody afterwards, appreciate you watching. We'll be back again. Until next time. Peace.
Have a good one.